What up, proper? Yes, indeed. Just getting some shit set up here real quick. Alright, hopefully it looks good, sounds good, all that good stuff. Hopefully we can get through this without losing power. Got some storms coming through left and right, so yeah. We'll see. I haven't even put Madden in my machine in like a month, not more. I'm playing a lot of basketball and baseball and yeah, getting ready for the school year and all that fun shit. Alright. Let's get this one going. I want to see this Bulls game that's next. Yeah, that's definitely one game I can't play for shit. I'd either just get you killed or get your team a lot of deaths. I tried all the Call of Duty stuff. Like I said, Grand Theft Auto 5 is about the only shoot 'em up game I've ever been decent at, so. Well, make your pick early, boys and girls. What we got here? I'm gonna say the Spurs, but the Blazers did earn the number 2 seed, so we'll see here. I don't know. I feel like Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Kawhi, Tony Parker, George Gervin, that's just their starters, so. Alright, and see, that's half my problems. I don't play video games too well with others because, well, half the people just don't listen. And the other half are Leroy Jenkins, so that never bodes well in Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, football's all kinds of messed up right now. There's a bunch of new faces in new places. Christ, Tom Brady's a Buccaneer. Never thought I'd say that in my life. I'm not even kidding. There are a lot of teams I could have seen him. I could have seen him playing for the Cowboys before the Bucs, but I guess. What up, what up? The old school crew's back in the house. We got Proper in here, Lil Red's in here. Whoa, Clyde the Glide. Speaking of Leroy Jenkins, Proper, the other day my kid's like, dude, Dad, have you ever heard of Leroy Jenkins? And I'm like, buddy, I've known of Leroy Jenkins for a long time, and I showed him a couple like different versions of it that he had never seen, and it was hilarious. That's like still one of the funniest things I've ever seen on the internet. Proper here got a 97 all in what, 4 weeks? Yeah, 4 weeks. He started a new account, he was saying. I barely have time for one account. Like I said, if my stream just goes dark, guys, it's because I lost power. It's so far it's just been rain, but there's supposed to be a lot of it and some lightning coming up, so it doesn't take much around here. But fingers crossed, I can at least get these 2 games in, and then we'll see how I'm feeling if I want to get a third or fourth game in. Oh shit. So I got a birthday in a few days here, and we're having a big ass party. Well, I shouldn't say big ass party, but we're having a birthday party on the 1st of August because it's a Saturday night, and everybody was mad that I did it on a Friday night last year, so party time. But there'll probably be a couple days there at the end of the month and beginning of the month where I might be gone for a couple days. Just got a bunch of shit I gotta do and hang out with the fam on my birthday, so if I don't show up after, say, probably about the 30th, don't fret, I'll be back. So we're gonna start another tournament here. I'm trying to work on setting up, and I'm gonna try to do some baseball. It's looking like my pick of San Antonio might be dead wrong here. They're getting their butts whooped. Like I said, thankfully my week ain't too bad. The first part of it. But yeah, starting kinda Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday, it's gonna be pretty hectic around here. So Saturday night we got maybe like, I don't know, 10-ish people coming over, give or take, not counting their kids. We're having some tacos. Everybody asked me, do you want to have hamburgers and hot dogs, or do you want to have something different? And I was like, man, we always have hamburgers and hot dogs whenever we have gatherings. I was like, what can we have? And I was sitting here and I was like, I know, we can have a taco bar. Everybody just makes their own taco. Like, imagine Subway, but instead of sandwiches, it's tacos. And so far, everybody I told to, like, hey man, we're not going to have burgers and dogs, so hopefully the kids like it. They've all been like, yeah, that sounds excellent. Because how can you go wrong with, you know, some cervezas and some tacos? I mean, let's get it going here. Whoa. Holy shit. was like a goddamn laser beam for three, plus it was a bank shot. That's the nuttiest three-pointer I've seen from that half of a court yet. Shit. The Spurs are trying to catch up. Now they're getting a run going. Man, they got some 80s and 90s guys on their team. Terry Porter, John Paxson. That's Jerome Kersey with the monster jam right there. Or Beatus of bonus. That number 11 was king shit for a while. Ain't no thing, man. Don't worry about it. Gotta do what you gotta do. Trust me, I understand. I have an 8th grader and a 4th grader in my house now, so trust me, I get it. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Oh shit. Little man Avery Johnson, look out. He's little, but he's not Muggsy Bogues little. Yesterday when Muggsy Bogues played, it was crazy looking at him next to like the big dudes. He looked like a little kid out there. I'm almost certain that guy's name is Kiki Vanderway. I feel like you have to grow up tough if your name is Kiki. Especially if you're a dude. Like, you ain't gonna have to take no shit from nobody. I'll kick your ass. Oh, Avery looks so tiny when he's getting guarded by that dude right there. Shit, he made it over those 3 big guys though. He said, screw you guys. Right? Yeah, Cortland Sutton, yeah. Oh, Terry for deep. Nope. Couldn't get her to fall. It's not a bad game first half. A lot of points. It's fixing to be a pretty high scoring game, I think, here. Especially if either team gets on a run again. I just can't wait to see the Bulls game. Because, like I said, I've never seen him get a play on 8-minute quarters, so I'd like to see how many points MJ can get and what they can do. So the Lakers impressed me. That was good. They're my number 1. But like I said, if the Lakers were to get knocked out, my second horse in the race is definitely the Bulls. Because, yeah, they've looked pretty good in their 2 play-in games. Right? Yeah, I could see, I imagine Megatron probably made a lot of dudes look like they were not nearly as big as they actually are. Because he was a large human being, man. Oh shit, Avery knocked it away, but somebody on the other, or the same team got it. Ah, it's good. I knew who you were talking to. It's all good. Oh, the spin doctor. That was pretty suave. I like how this game has gotten back to being close again. There for a minute it was a 10-point game, so we'll see when the starters come back in though. A lot of this has been the backup dudes coming off the bench, so but that bodes well for the Spurs, Their bench is kind of outplaying Portland's bench, so from this point on, it's rare you're going to see the 5 starters for too long all together. Every now and then. Got the big dudes in, the trees, Duncan and Robinson. Yeah, I'm sure they got some issues with him, but probably more so the referees. He was just playing football. It's like, hey, he kind of had to figure, he had to know he was taking a huge risk doing that. It wasn't like he had to know, and there's no way they're going to throw a flag. He just figured there's no way I'm going to be the guy that they get this winning touchdown on. And he just got lucky. Well, he probably knew it. I have one option here, and that's to take this motherfucker out, because and that's what he did, and yeah, the rest is literally history. So I still have to hear stories here from the older guys, that live around here, that are huge Nebraska fans back, and I want to say I think it was 83. I could be wrong on the year, though, because, yeah. But it might have been even 85. I don't know. Early 80s, we were playing Penn State, and a guy from Penn State caught the ball like 5 yards out of bounds, and they said it was a complete pass. And you could like clearly see that it really wasn't that complete. It looked really, really out of bounds, but back in the day, there's no replay, and you just had to go on, and yeah, I'm pretty certain that's the year Penn State went on to win a national championship, if I remember correctly. But once again, I could be wrong there. But yeah, I remember hearing stories from like my grandpa and uncles and stuff like that, how pissed off they were for just weeks after that. And it was like they were like, first they were pissed at Penn State, and then they were pissed at the refs, and then they were just pissed at everybody. But I can only imagine if I'd have been like watching that game, cause I'd have been a little tiny kid, so I didn't give a shit. I was probably doing God knows what, but I definitely wasn't watching football games yet at that age. Yep, the Washington football team. It should be the Generals. The Washington Generals. Has a good ring to it. I'm pretty sure they've used it before in the past and it worked out, so why not? I was waiting for him to do something crazy, like just say we're just going to be known as the Skins or something, and try to shorten it up just to take that part out of it, but I don't know. I don't see how that really makes a fucking difference, I guess. If there was a Charleston Crackers, I would give a shit less about it. I mean, honestly, I'm just saying. I know I'm white and I don't understand, but I wouldn't think that matters a damn bit. I would understand that, first of all, that shit wasn't like it was just named 2 days ago where they decided, hey, let's name a team the Redskins. It was just times were different, and I get it, things change, but changing a football team's name ain't gonna change shit in the world, so. But, it's what we live in now, this fucking cancel culture bullshit where if you don't believe with it, and it doesn't flow with your jive, then you really don't care less and you want it done for, which is scary in my opinion. It's a slippery slope because everybody hates something. We can't get rid of everything, so we can't get rid of everybody. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't get why people just can't get the fuck along. Everybody's got to worry about this and that and religions and skin colors and blah blah blah. It's like, Christ, just get along. Jesus. If you don't like somebody, then stay the fuck away from them. And, if you can't be civil to other human beings, then I really don't understand what your problem is. Because, yeah. always makes me think of the Fifth Element movie. Are you registered as a human? Negative. I am a meat popsicle. Oh shit. This game started off with a ton of offense, now it's been a bunch of defense. This has also been like gotta be the most fouls I've ever seen. Shit, top 10? I don't even know, dude. That's a lot. I can tell you, like, right off the top of my head, if I had to say right now, you really gotta just say Patrick Mahomes is kind of like, top of the game, because he's gonna change the way defenses have to play this game. I mean, he's creepy good, and if he can stay healthy and has the right coaching staff, man, that dude's gonna fucking mess shit up in a good way. After that, you have to start, I guess, looking at like, Lamar Jackson's another guy who's kind of making, coaches have to change what they do, and any guy that can change a professional level of gamemanship is, you got to put him to the top, right? I mean, I'm not saying that guys like, Matt Ryan and all these dudes, if Alex Smith can come back and somewhat, I'm not saying they're professional quarterbacks, but they don't make you go, whoa, I still think Drew Brees is a lot better than people give him credit for at his age, and I think a lot of it is the system, but that's not his fault. He found the right system. Yeah, Russell Wilson, yeah. He was kind of your mold of what was coming. He was trying to kind of show you this. It's like watching a shortstop play quarterback, where you don't know how he does what he does, but he does it. It's like, how did he get that throw to first base? I don't know, but he did it. That's kind of how they are, and that's that baseball experience shows up. That's why you should play as many sports as you can, because you never know when another sport is going to help you do something and excel in your sport that you main play. I'm still not sure about Watson. I think his problem might be staying healthy, because they got to make sure he's protected. Because if he gets the shit beat out of him, he's not going to be as good as he could be. Aaron Rodgers is another one of those guys where you never know. If he gets hit just wrong, he's out for 8 fucking weeks or longer. Brady, just because, well, I mean, he's fucking Brady. The guy has probably more experience and knowledge in his head than, anybody else right now, since Peyton Manning retired. Like I said, yeah, Matt Ryan's good. He's just not, game changing, I guess. His is more his receivers. He's got some of the best receivers that, anybody could ask for as a quarterback. Carson Wentz is another one of those kind of glass quarterbacks where you just, I don't know. The talent's there, but it's like, can he stay on the field for a whole season? Kyler Murray, but once again, he's a baseball guy. Plus, I could honestly see if things don't go well for Kyler Murray, I could see him being like, hey, I want to go try baseball while I'm still young enough to be in the prime. Derek Carr, I don't know. We'll see. Once again, he was one of those dudes with that, high ceiling. Everybody wanted to see what he could do, and then, well, there you go, buzzer beater. That's just kind of been a mess around him. Dak, once again, I mean, he's a Cowboy quarterback. I expect every Cowboy quarterback better show up, or else you won't be a Cowboys quarterback for long, right? They don't fuck around with the quarterback there. Jimmy G, I don't know. I feel like he could just as easily have a really horrible season for just as much as he's had good ones. Yeah, that's 1 year though. How long's he been in the NFL? He's been in the NFL a lot more than 1 year though, hasn't he? This should be his third or fourth year coming up, and that's like, I mean, his team did well, and then he fucking got hurt at a really bad time, and then some other guy had to come in and prove that he could win a championship without Carson Wentz. They've done it once. Like I said, he doesn't suck. I'll never say that, they fucking suck, because, I mean, they made the NFL. That's like saying anybody that plays a professional sport, I don't get how you can say they suck. They may not be the best, but they don't suck to make the NFL. But once again, the problem with the Eagles is they're the Eagles, and every time I think, the Eagles look pretty good this year, they don't end up being nearly as good as they probably should have been. And I've just never really been a Philly fan for... Allen Iverson is about the most Philly thing I've ever rooted for, man. That's about it. My favorite baseball team had to kick the shit out of him in a World Series once, so that felt, good. That was fun for me. Well, see, it's not, some people are using it against them, and I'm not saying using it against them, I'm just saying, it's like when a pitcher gets Tommy John surgery, that's always got to be in the back of your head. All it takes is one little thing, and now it's never going to be the same. Then again, some of those guys come back like stronger. It's like a rubber band. It's like Rookie of the Year, they get some shit fixed, and all of a sudden now they can fucking do amazing things. It's weird. Yeah, I hate most teams sometimes, but there's a few players that I just can't get behind. It's nothing personal, it's just something, I don't know them on a personal level, but as far as just their attitude, some guys I just can't ever get behind. Like Terrell Owens was one of them. I know he was really good, and he was a kick-ass wide receiver, but I hoped he never ended up on any team I was rooting for in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, I know a lot of people that aren't huge Aaron Rodgers people. I didn't like him when he was at Cal. I don't have as big a problem with him now that he's went to the NFL, but something about him when he was in college, he just drove me crazy, because he was just, I mean, what do you expect? He went to Cal, so he was, a very pretty boy, kind of just had that, dude, look, but I guess he could throw a football and took over for a pretty big guy named Brett Favre, so yeah. Once again, he doesn't suck. I wasn't a huge Warren Sapp guy, college or the pros, but I really hated him in college. Ooh, fadeaway. Super Bowl bound, huh? There's been a lot more coaches I couldn't stand than players, I bet. I could probably come up with more coaches I didn't like than players. But that's also because coaches get a little more leeway of what they get to say. Players are just saying that PR thing. Coaches kind of get a chance to say a little more what they feel and can get away with it a little bit. Like Barry Switzer, good God, yeah. I could be civil to him, but I just feel like it wouldn't be long before I'm like, well, I gotta go, Coach Switzer. Shit, yeah, bye. Yeah, I hear a lot of Cowboys people saying they're not really up to wanting to pay Dak anything. They kind of wish they didn't even have to pay him the what, 31 some million dollars he gets for his franchise or whatever, since he didn't sign a contract. I think that's what somebody was telling me one day. They're like, dude, I can't believe by not signing a contract he gets 31 million this year under the franchise tag or something. I was like, damn, dude. $31 million to show people what he's got and hope that, either Cowboys do pay him, or if not, fuck it, somebody else that will. That just seems like a fucking lot of money off a cap. I don't know how the salary cap works in real life in comparison to, video games, but I know anytime a guy's franchise tag gets over 15 million, it gets pretty pricey for that one fucking year. Alright. Let's go get something to drink after this game is over. Right? And a lot of it too is just how many quarterbacks come out of college, and there have been a lot of quote, pro level quarterbacks in college nowadays. It's not just even in college it used to be like you had one really good quarterback and then you had a guy who was just good enough to back him up, and then when that guy got to be, a junior, you better start recruiting your next big guy, because otherwise you got to fall back to that other guy that's just kind of there because he can throw a football better than all these other guys. And it's only getting more. I mean, shit, look at who's coming in the next few years just from college. Everybody's losing their fucking mind over Trevor Lawrence. So it's not very often in my lifetime that I've been hearing about the number one pick in a draft 2 years away from the draft it's even going to happen. It's like, man, for all you fucking know, that guy could quit football altogether next year because he just don't want to play anymore. Yeah, we'll see. There's been a few guys that I thought, oh, they're going to be pretty good, and then they weren't, but there's also been some dudes that you wouldn't expect to be anybody, and they ended up being, pretty fucking decent. So the biggest thing is, who do they end up with? Whoa, Tim Duncan, Jesus. That's the biggest crapshoot about drafting in the NFL. It's not just about the guy, but who does he have around him and who's his coaches. People forget that shit matters, Yeah, sometimes you just have a Johnny Manziel incident where it's just like, no matter who the fuck you put this guy with, he's got to find the right guy. And even then, he still may fuck shit up just because of who he is. But the majority of those guys, if they're good enough to get to the NFL, they got to get to the right dude. It's easier in college because you're recruited by the people that want you. In the NFL, it's like, the guy that drafts you may never even fucking hardly ever get to talk to. Not a lot of teams' coaches aren't really the guy that makes that last call. It's the GM or whoever, but I tell you what, I've seen him play live and in person, and a lot of it was his defense made him look a lot better that day, and then he didn't even have to play much because, well, yeah, they just kicked our ass. But he's no slouch, and he's no fucking joke. But once again, he's one of those guys where it's real important who he ends up with, because, you know, the wrong coach and the wrong system, he won't be shit. He'll be just another guy in the NFL, you know. But I don't know. The other Ohio State quarterback I was surprised didn't do nearly as well as what's his name, Terrell Pryor. Is that it? I think that's his name. He ended up playing wide receiver, but I thought he was going to end up being a pretty good quarterback. But like I said, you never know. Yeah, baseball's changing pretty fucking quick though, dude. I'll tell you what. With the amount of money these players are getting paid in baseball, you could say it's a fucking players league. The owners are just making a shit ton, but that's when people tell me baseball's dead, and I'm like, really? Then why are fucking Major League Baseball players able to get the amount of fucking money they are? It's like, if it's dead, then shit. That's the best dead sport I've ever fucking seen paycheck wise. Tell Mookie Betts that baseball's dead. He'll be able to show you a bank account in a few years that tells you otherwise, so. But I think sports in general are going to change a lot after this year, not just because of this, like, this year. I just think they were fixing to change before this year. I think this year is just going to speed the process up now. Players are going to say, listen, we're risking this, we're risking that, you know, in all sports, right down to fucking hockey. So, but I guess, you know, I'm just glad to have sports. It was sure nice to be able to sit back and watch a Yankees game the other day and just sit back and enjoy an actual Yankees game. Even if there weren't people there, I don't give a fuck. That doesn't bother me. I'm sure it sucks for the players and whatnot, just having that. It's kind of probably boring, but hey, they're getting paid and we're being entertained, so it's win-win. Yeah, I've pretty well been a baseball fan. Was the first sport I really got into, but I mean, it was Huskers football and, you know, baseball in general. They kind of came at the same time. I didn't really get into pro football until I was probably closer to, like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years old. But from the time I was about 6 till, you know, 11-ish, 12, it was baseball or Huskers football. Right? Yeah, it's a weird thing for basketball this year. It was just kind of fucking weird for everything. Top to bottom, every way you look at it, everything's been fucking weird. It's been a weird fucking year, so. I got into golf when I was about 15. I taught myself how to play golf. And then, sadly, my best sport after baseball is tennis. Like, you don't want to play me in tennis for money or a trophy, because I will not allow you to win. It's just, I don't know what's wrong with me, but it's beyond competitive. I don't know. I kind of got lucky. I mean, everybody can call me a bandwagoner, but I guess everybody's a bandwagoner because at some point you pick a team And it was about, 1990-ish. I kind of started following the Lakers because of like Magic Johnson and Nick Van Exel. There was just a couple guys that were in the 90s that I kind of liked. I followed. And then once they got Kobe and Shaq and all that, it was like, fuck, this is excellent. So Allen Iverson was kind of like the other guy. Like I said, I liked watching, but I couldn't root for a any Philadelphia team of any sort. So I just kind of watched Iverson play, but I rooted for the Lakers, and yeah. I was a Cubs fan for about a year or two because it was the only team we could get on our cable back in the day because we didn't have satellite dish and all that cool shit in the 80s. And I would get WGN, the Chicago network. So every day there was like, probably, 5 to 6 days out of the week there was a Cubs game on, so I just watched them, and so that made me a Cubs fan. But like I said, it was about 91-ish, 91, I started kind of following the Yankees because Don Mattingly, something about the dude, I was like, this dude's the shit. Yeah, like I said, it's just anything, I don't know. Pittsburgh I don't really have problems with as much. Like, I don't mind, like, not a Pirates fan, but I don't have anything against them. They got cool fucking colors. I'll give Pittsburgh teams that. They got some of the coolest color schemes in all the sports, and their jerseys show for it in sales. But as far as teams go, yeah, I really don't care for either. Right? Donnie Baseball, baby. Don Mattingly was the man. I think part of the reason I liked him even as a kid is I thought it was funny that, the Yankees were one of the teams that had like an anti-facial hair and sideburn policy because, Steinbrenner was a fucking weirdo like that, and he wanted his players a certain way. I think he just liked to control people, and he was, old school fucking gross old man, but whatever. So it was funny when you look at Donnie Baseball, he didn't have sideburns, but he made sure, he's like, listen, if you're not going to let me have sideburns, I'm having a fucking mustache. And the dude rocked a fucking kicking mustache over there at first base, so. And even then with the Yankees, I got lucky because it would have been like a year and a half, 2 years after I started, really collecting Yankees cards and following the Yankees, they drafted Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, and all these fucking Andy Pettit, all these badass motherfuckers, and ended up winning just, a couple of World Series here and there. But my NFL team, I had to go through some rough years with the NFL because before Peyton Manning, I was a Colts fan, and I had to deal with the year when Pittsburgh beat him. And I was at my grandpa's, and he up until the day he passed away would give me shit about that day. He's like, I've never seen somebody get so upset over a fucking football game before. But the game when you were at my house when Indianapolis lost to Steelers, I thought you were just gonna like run away. Yeah, but I think you're going to be surprised, especially because of the way baseball players are starting to kind of go back to that, you know. And I've always said it about baseball players. I don't mind saying it because I'm a baseball player. It's a dirty sport. You get fucking dirty, and it's just it's something about if you look right, you fix it up right, you can be Dirt McGirt, and you can go with it. It's not a bad thing. And it just seems like that long hair, just get dirty attitude and mentality is kind of coming back to the look even. Yeah, it's alright though, dude. I tell you what, when I was a kid, you know, until they drafted Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Irvin, and had all those guys finally as a team, you know, it had been a long time since they had really made a lot of noise. I have an uncle who's a huge Cowboys fan, so I had to hear all the stories about how they went from being, with Staubach and Drew Pearson and all those guys, Danny White, all that shit back in the day, to where they were kind of a fucking joke, you know. But he said, I remember him saying the day they had Aikman, Irvin, Emmett Smith, and they drafted all those offensive linemen, they traded away Herschel Walker and like the biggest deal ever. He knew it was going to be something really, really fun to watch. And yeah. Yeah, but it's, I don't know. I root for probably the most hated team in baseball. Well, maybe the second most now since the Astros decided to be fucking cheaters and bang on trash cans. But just as far as, I mean, you know, I mean, our nickname is the Evil Empire, and we've embraced that. So people think it bothers Yankees fans when they tell us that, like, fucking hate you guys, you know. You buy your championships and you just look at them and be like, yeah, isn't that what every team is supposed to do? You buy the best team you can put out there to win the championship, right? If your goal is just to fucking show up, then I guess, but don't expect much. I mean, I've never played a sport where I showed up just to show up. Like, I showed up to fucking win. Like, I still had fun, but I wasn't there to fucking lose, so why would pro sports be any different? You pay to play and win, right? Like, the more hate you throw at me is fine by me. I tell people I'm so used to being hated on between Nebraska and the Yankees that there isn't much you can say to me. You know, I'll defend them, but there's not much you can tell me that's gonna like be like, oh, that hurt my feelings. Why do you call us that? Right? Yeah, I know so many people that call him that, and I was like, at some point, it doesn't. It's like you can get slapped around so many times before slapping around doesn't bug you anymore. That kind of thing. Yeah, I'd imagine Staubach he's kind of their, like, he's the dude. My uncle tells me that he'll never think there's ever been a better quarterback than Roger Staubach, so I don't know. And he watched him play in both college and the pros, you know. I can't really attest to it because I've, you know, only seen highlights, and, you know, highlights always make everybody look like the best because they're highlights. Right? Well, it was a. Here's the thing people forget. They have that tax, you know, the tax you had to pay back in the day. So, like, if you went over salary cap, it's not that it was against the rules, but you had to pay in a hell of a lot more of a tax. And the Yankees just figured out, listen, if we have the money to pay the fucking tax, go way over salary cap and pay the fucking tax. And, you know, then they spread that money out over the rest of the league. So, like, the Royals can sit and complain that, oh, we can't spend that much money. It's funny, the Yankees used to give you money because of who they bought. So when they'd buy, you know, say a Reggie Jackson or whoever it was, you know, for a buku amount of money, you got some of that money during the off season in the luxury tax because it got thrown down and trickled. It was like a trickle down effect. I've heard some people say Roger Staubach is a top 5 college quarterback ever. And that's saying something when you think about the amount of quarterbacks that have played in college football. I mean, that's got to be a pretty fucking bold statement. I mean, you can't say that lightly. I mean, you can't say that about any sport, but a college football quarterback, fuck. Some teams have 7 a year. Oh, trying to make a game of it, but I ended up being right, I think, here. If San Antonio can hit these free throws, that's game. I figured, like I said, the Spurs they're tough. I mean, Christ, just they have Tim Duncan and David Robinson alone are a fucking mission and a half. Antonio Brown on his retirement. Yeah, Jerry Jones is kind of like, I think and I don't mean this bad, but the greatest thing that'll happen to the Cowboys is when that guy just lets somebody else take over. You know, I'm not saying he needs to die, but that might be the only way you guys get rid of that guy. He may just fucking be in that office until he's fucking dead, probably. And by the looks of things, that's Jerry's way, and that's his wish. Then hey, so be it. I wouldn't complain if I was him. He seems like he's doing all right for himself, but I know everybody's mad, and once, Steinbrenner kind of handed things down to the relatives, the kids, but it's like I said, Derek Jeter will for always be, one of my favorite Yankees, but towards the end it was tough because of the amount of money we had to pay Derek Jeter to keep him a Yankee, and I'm glad we did. It was respect. It was the right thing to do. It just sucked that, he couldn't say, hey, man, I don't need that much. But, it's hard to say no to money, especially when they're talking that much. But I think he figures, hey, man, I've won. Do what you can do, and if you can't, then so be it. But I like the Yankees roster now. Alright, so we got San Antonio moving on 105 to 98. So now we have the crazy matchup of the Spurs and the Lakers in round 2, and that's going to be a good matchup. Yeah, I tell you what though, he's exactly what you expect in a wide receiver, It's just sad that sometimes even those guys I don't think understand just, how good they have it. And I'm not saying they don't have issues, and people probably are, some people are probably fucking dicks to them, but I'm just saying this right now. I don't care if someone's willing to pay me millions of dollars to play professional anything, but I would totally be willing. I'm not saying I would sell out. I would still have my morals and my beliefs, but if there's one thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't ever do in what a good majority of wide receivers in the past, and just, I don't even know what the word is, just freak the fuck out, I guess. And seem as if they're literally just losing their fucking mind. It's like you can't just behave for a few years and cash some checks and play a game you say you love and then lose your fucking mind. Right? Yeah, and but that's part of sports. You're always going to get those fucking, those debates. Everybody wants to know who's the best, who's this, who's that, who's what. I can't believe how many people on Twitter I saw losing their mind over Madden ratings. I'm not saying players, but people that play the game, like, so-and-so should have this. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude, who cares? It's close enough. It's a fucking game, man. It's like, play it or don't, but shit. Right? And think about that. Think of how much money you make now, and just think, God, if I could even make a percentage of what some of these guys make in a year, and then you have to sit there and listen to them, it's kind of hard. And like I said, I get it. Everybody's got problems. Everybody's, nobody's fucking life is going to be perfect, especially, people who have a lot of money. They got even more problems. It's a fucking song. More money, more problems. Listen to it if you haven't. I love it. But I don't know. Sometimes you just want to say to them, if you don't want to do it, I'm sure there's somebody else that would. So fucking leave, You don't have to be here. Leave. It's just like AV. If you don't like the NFL, fucking leave. But if you're going to leave, you got to fucking leave. You can't come fucking crying back and expect people not to call you out on that shit. That was even the one thing, you know. I respect Michael Jordan, but I gave a lot of Jordan fans shit when he came back and then left and then came back and then left and came back. It was like, dude, either fucking quit or don't, but stop this shit. That's I don't care who you are. You're either fucking just make up your goddamn mind and do it. Brett Favre did the same thing. I gave a lot of people shit for Brett Favre. Like, dude, you need to have that guy either just quit or fucking come back, but don't do this shit. Right? I don't know. I guess I'll never be in that position, honestly, so I can't tell you, but... Alright, so here we go, the big one. We got the Pacers. And we got the Bulls. Those are pretty tight. I like those. Alright, go back. I'm gonna go over here, check these jerseys. Alright. Looks good. Yeah, for real. It's like, what are you spending your fucking money on? It's like, I'm not, like, I get it, you know, you probably have a crazy house payment, but it's like, you know, you don't have to have that crazy house payment. I've seen some people that live around here that have pretty nice houses that didn't have to spend as much to fucking be like, yes, every doorknob is made of 24 karat gold. It's like, why didn't you just buy a doorknob? Why did, you know, what the fuck are you talking about? Come to my 27 car garage. Don't worry, it's garage 1 of 6, but this one only fits 27. It's like, why did you need a 27 car garage? That seems crazy. 3 cars would be okay. 5, I guess, but fucking what do you need all this shit for? Just to show off and have some clout? You dumbass, now you're gonna be broke. That's stupid. I told my buddy one time a business we should have gotten into, and I still wish we would. It's sports PR and money management, where we teach college-age kids getting ready to go into the professional level at any sport, at any level, whether it's overseas, I don't give a fuck if you're going to go play semi-pro ball. You're going to make more money probably doing that than a lot of people make doing their shitty-ass jobs. And they need to just be taught, like, listen, you can make a lot of fucking money, but you gotta spend right. You gotta know when it's okay to do some things, when it's maybe not the best idea. You know, you don't tell them yes or no, but you just try to teach them. And I still wish my buddy would do this with me, because he was a college athlete, and he's like, you know, we've talked about it before. You know, he has friends that made it to the pros where even though they never got to play, they got paid a lot of fucking money to be on a practice team, but now they're having to do some pretty shitty jobs because all that money's gone. And it's not like they made billions of dollars, but they made enough where they should have been able to live comfortably for the rest of their fucking lives. And then they're probably their kids after them, but instead they wanted to have this car that, you know, they didn't really need. They still could have got a nice car, but they had to get the fucking nicest of nice, and it's just, I don't know. And then on top of that, like I said, the way these dumbasses are on the internet, you just want to teach them, like, listen, people are going to see this, and if they don't now, they will 10 years from now when you make a mistake, because they'll pay somebody to go through every one of your fucking tweets, including your deleted ones, so good luck. Remember that. Alright, here we go. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not debating that it's probably fucking hard when you got all that money, but I just can't believe nobody, I shouldn't say nobody, but it just seems like a good portion don't ever even think of anywhere down the road, or the fact that tomorrow they could just as easily blow a fucking knee, and after that year they're not going to be able to do what they do anymore. right? Well, we may not know about his kids, but he may have just been speaking in future tense, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I remember the day everybody, you know, and I was excited too with A-Rod just because of the fact that I knew how good he was at baseball. You know, love him, hate him, the fucking dude was good at baseball and I knew it. But I remember thinking about that money and just thinking, damn, dude, imagine that. And, you know, that was, you know, long time ago and that was crazy money. And now, yeah, it's almost like that's not even that nuts anymore. Trout and all those guys. It's nuts. But once again, it's like my bun buddy said, you know, if a team's willing to pay you something, don't you take it? And that's not saying you can't still work something out to make sure that your team, you know, has extra money to make your team better, to be a good teammate. But even with that said, they can still pay you a lot of money. They come at you with a fucking $7 million a year to do, you know, you're not the main guy, and they just say, listen, man, we'll pay you $7 million to do this. You're like, fuck yeah, where do I sign? I would have signed for 3, bitch. Well, this is getting out of hand quickly. 9-0, huh? These guys are scary fucking good. And see, he gets it though. He gets it. I guarantee you his old man sat him down and said, listen, I played for the Minnesota fucking Twins at one time. I was drafted by the fucking Minnesota Twins who had just came off of, you know, World Series championships. They had Hall of Famers on that team, but you know what? Those Hall of Famers had to get paid a fucking lot. And after those Hall of Famers, you know, were getting paid a lot, they didn't do jack shit. Because those Hall of Famers were getting old. And they were getting slow. And then Pat Mahomes Sr. went to a couple other teams where I guarantee he didn't care about what he was getting paid because he was on a fucking kick-ass team. But because of it, he started getting paid more. Now we're talking, you know, hey, listen, he probably told his kid, you know, you can get paid and still make sure your team gets better. Because at the end of the day, what's more important, you know? And that's where you figure out about a guy is what's more important, your money or your legacy, I guess. Because if you do it right, you can get both. You know, that's why I feel bad for sometimes guys like Dan Marino, dude. Because, you know, I know people say, oh, Dan Marino's a dick. But yeah, Dan Marino was a really good quarterback who seemed like a pretty fucking good teammate. And that fucking dude never won a Super Bowl, but because of that, some people don't. I mean, it's not that he's not, you know, one of the greatest, but they don't think of him as one of the greatest. And it's like, man, that dude was pretty fucking good. I mean, when I was a kid on a video game before Mike Vick, it was like, I want to be Dan Marino because that fucker can throw a football like 80 yards. Yeah, everybody got to get their money. You know, sometimes I do understand holding out. I get it. There are certain situations where it's the right business move to hold out. But you also have to understand how long are you know, when you start holding out into a season, that's when I see it becoming a problem. Like when you just don't show up anymore, because that tells me right there you don't give a fuck about your team. But I don't know. Like I said, everybody's different. Everybody has a different idea, and I'm sure it's different when you got an agent sitting in front of you telling you, listen, dude, if you hold out, we can get you another $7 million. How do you say no to that? I mean, how do you say no to that? Like, hold on, what'd you just say? Like, listen, if you hold out for another week, you know, it's 3 weeks before the season, but by holding off another week, I think we can get you another $7 million. Do you say, fuck that shit, just sign the contract? Or you go, so next Sunday I can get another $7 million, then we can sign? Fuck yeah, let's do that. Because like I said, some of these guys don't do it themselves. They got this agent telling them what to do, and they listen to him. So, Yeah, well, Cam Newton's learning how it's a business, that's for sure. If anybody's learning right now how football's a business, it's Cam Newton. But if he's as good as he says he can be and can still be that good for a few years, this is his chance to show people. Don't pay me kicker money, pay me Cam money. I want to be Superman, bitch. Pay me like it. But if you're going to say you're Superman, you got to show it. So here's his chance. Show it. Because I'm not lying when I'd say 10 years ago, if you told me you would give me 10% of what kickers get paid to play baseball or tennis or whatever, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd say, where do I sign, bitch? Where do I sign? What time do I need to be? And where do I need to be there? Driver's test. Oh, shit. I thankfully didn't have to take a driver's test this year. I was able to do my shit without one, but... And as long as I don't have any accidents or tickets, knock on wood, next time I get to just fucking do it online. But this time I actually had to go into the courthouse this last year, but it was before all this kookiness hit, so... It was still just a normal, boring, ridiculous courthouse visit. It wasn't a COVID courthouse visit, so... Shit, I gotta go get something to drink. I will be right back. I just realized my soda's empty. Be right back. Yes, good. That's funny. My sister-in-law drove on an expired license. Well, it wasn't expired, but I mean, like, it got revoked or whatever for tickets, speeding tickets, and a DUI. And between those things, you know, she couldn't get a license for a while. She drove for like fucking 4 years in Council Bluffs like that shit before she finally got caught. It's like, damn, dude, how do you do that? How do you even, like, just, fuck, I just don't get it. Like, it's one thing to do it for, like, a couple weeks or a couple years, but I was like, 4 fucking years, dude. I feel like I've gotten pulled over just for doing, like, 5 over one time. You think they'd have been like, oh, you're fucked, you know, but no. So it's like, damn, that's some lucky shit. And that's the crazy thing she does. She sucks at driving. That was how we couldn't figure out how she did it for that long. It's like, how did she manage to do that for so long with as shitty as a driver she is? It's like, my brother wouldn't even let her drive when he was in a car with her because it freaked him the fuck out. Like, he's not, like, you don't want to get on a fucking interstate with her driving a car, he'd say, because you'll fucking feel like you're gonna die. But I guess. Right? See, around here, you have to fucking drive. I live in a town that's literally has nothing. I mean, we have a bar, that's it. So it's like when you need shit, you gotta drive, and it's not a mile or two. It's 13 miles, so it's almost a 30-mile round trip just to go to a fucking store to get groceries. If it was like a mile to the store from like, because that was the other thing, my brother and his sister-in-law only lived literally a block or two away from the Walmart, a couple blocks from a gas station. So when she did drive, it wasn't like she had to drive all over the fucking place. So, but it's like you said, in those big towns, man, everybody just kind of blends in. So it's easier to blend in, that's for sure, than it is in my town. You stick out like a sore thumb in this town, you do something stupid. Yeah, see, that's not too bad. You have to drive 12 miles before you'd get to a gas station where I live. And it's, like I said, about 14 and a half miles to the Walmart and all that stuff, like restaurants and all that shit, so. Pacers are making a run back here. Jordan's probably like, dude, yep, see, there he is. I was just going to say, Jordan's probably just going to stand up, and he's like, he doesn't even have to get told. He just gets up, and he's like, I'm going in this motherfucker. And they're like, go ahead, yep, you got it, MJ. Get your ass in there, dude. Right? See, that's why on like the baseball game, I can hit just as well with an 81 overall card as I can with an 87 overall card or a 91 overall card. It's just a matter of the guy. On baseball, it's definitely more about, like there's some dudes who are 99s overall. I can't hit with them because of the way they hit, and it's just, I just can't get their timing down, or they're not, they don't have the right speed for my style of play. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't look cool. It would look fucking rad as shit. Wow, look at this, all 99s. But that's like on my baseball team right now. I have an all diamond team, so that means everybody's 85 or overall better. But I have a couple dudes who are like an 86 overall that I prefer over an 89 overall guy because of his batting style or his defense ability. Because he hits just as good as that dude, but he's just, the other guy's a little, worse in the field. Well, fuck, give me the 86 who's better in the field. It's weird. Yellowstone, huh? It's not far from me. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's like 2 states away, really, at the end of the day. Yellowstone always has a crap ton of earthquakes, though. If you look at it, it's like California, man. If you were to watch California's eruptions all day, or not eruptions, but earthquakes, they never stop. It's literally, I have a friends on there on Facebook that I always ask, hey, did you feel that earthquake? I just seen you guys had like a 5.2 earthquake, and they're like, no, not really, but it's just like, wow, that's crazy. Like, we had a 3.2 earthquake here a while back, and everybody was losing their fucking minds because they're like, whoa, we had a fucking earthquake. Fuck Warren Sapp. Sorry. I was saying earlier I'm not a fan. So much so I won't even take his card on the game. Well, that depends. We don't know that till it happens. We'll let you know when it happens, but until then, nobody knows that type of shit. If it's a fucking massive, biggest eruption ever, yeah, but at that point it don't matter because it's the biggest eruption ever. But if it's just a, little eruption, at the same point with that said, Yellowstone is erupting all the time. So that's why they have the geysers. Nothing we can do about it, man. Not to sound crazy and shit, but really at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about it. I have a couple friends that believe the world, quote, already did end and we're all living in some weird fucking matrix where they fucking press some reset button. So, what are you gonna do? I'm not too worried about it. If it happens, it happens, I guess. If it don't, it don't. California could just as easily end up in the ocean tomorrow. We don't know. Jesus could come tomorrow, and he might just come for you proper, because for all you know, you're the angel of something, man. You never know. But if Yellowstone's gonna erupt, it needs to at least wait until after my birthday at the end of the month, God damn it. I'd like to turn 40. It's been kind of like a goal of mine, I've worked really hard to stick around for this 40th birthday, so, Right? Fuck it. Just let me get to 40, Yellowstone. It's only fair with the bullshit that I've had to put up with over the last 39 years and some odd days that I get a C40, goddammit. Come on. Proper. Don't worry about that shit too much, because I hear ya. I used to I used to get super anxious about not necessarily Jesus, but just dying in general. And then I really just had to come to the realization that when I die, I won't know it. At least I hope I don't. I hope I don't have to sit there and die for hours on end, but if so, I guess that's just the way it was supposed to be. I don't know. Not to get all weird, but everything happens for a reason, good, bad, and in between. So, if I'm supposed to die a slow death, I guess so be it. I hope not, but we all gotta do it, and we all gotta die, and we all gotta live, and yeah, there's no point fucking fretting over shit like that, because that's just something you really don't get to control much. You don't have a say in it, and if that's what happens, if Jesus comes down and takes people away, well, right on. But I don't know. Once again, we don't know these things, and nothing you can do about it. People can claim they do, but nobody does. People that claim they do are full of shit because they don't know, because they're here too. So I don't believe in a God. I believe in something, I don't know what it is, but I don't believe in a form of a god. I don't believe in Buddha or Jesus or the kebab or whatever it is. I just I ain't got time for that shit, because life is too short, and I just feel like I can be a good person and still be okay at the end of the day. That's kind of what I try to teach my kids, is if you want to be religious, you can. I have no problems with it, but all I ask of you is just to be a good person, be kind, help people, help animals, do the right thing, you know, don't kill things just to kill them. Everybody deserves a life. I get it. There's a spider in your fucking house, things you got to do. But if there's a spider outside, why kill the spider? It's just doing its thing. So, if you don't want to get killed, don't go in somebody's fucking house. It's pretty simple shit. Be a good person. I believe in just being a good human being, and the rest will take care of itself. Yeah, we got halftime. Bulls are still in the lead. It looked like they were fixing to be in the lead by a lot more, but Indy's bench played pretty well. But yeah, George Carlin, I can see that, That's why I've always been a firm fan of comedy, because I feel like comedians have a really good grasp on, life. Smile, be a good person, make other people laugh, and yeah, I don't know. Right? Yeah. My dad would get in fights with me about religion and telling me how, it makes him sad. And I'm not going to talk about it long, but I got to say this because it always made me laugh. He would always tell me how sad it was that because he believed in God and he believed in heaven and hell, that he was going to be in heaven and I wouldn't come one day because I was going to go to hell because I didn't believe in the God he believed in. And I said, I get it. I understand that's what you're taught. But that's kind of heavy shit when you think about it. Because what about all the other religions? Like, they're all wrong. All those other religions are wrong, and your one religion is definitely right. You're sure of that. That means all those other people are going to hell, so only your religion is going to heaven. Okay. My second problem with that is, I asked him, I said, so for every disease, every tornado, every hurricane, every earthquake, every bad thing, every child molester, you're telling me your God put that thing here for a reason. All the way right down to fucking wasps that sting me just because they're pissed off. You're telling me that he's cool with that? That guy that you say is so forgiving and so thoughtful and is going to take you to the promised land? Those are his plans? Those are his, weekend thoughts? Tomorrow I'm going to make a fly, but he's not going to be a normal fly. He's going to be a turbo fly with really big wings. A segment of a body, but it's not just a body, it's got a stinger on it, and he's going to use it. But he's not going to use it as self-defense necessarily. Sometimes it will be. Other times it's going to be just because you got a little too close to shit. You may not touch his nest, but he's still going to sting your ass just because. Nah. And every time my dad would stop after that because he knew, what do you argue with that? And I told him, I said, I don't have any problems with your beliefs. Believe what you want to believe in, but just, take it easy with your righteousness, man. Right? So yeah, best advice I can give you proper being a young kid is just be a good person, man, and everything will be alright. Don't worry about dying and all that shit because there's no point. It's just there really is no point. Just do your thing, dude. Do what you want to do. Do what makes you happy. Don't worry about this or that. Just stick to your plan, man. Give yourself a plan and try to stick to it. And when things change, adapt to them, brother. You got to be able to adapt. The people who can adapt are people who are do best in life. And if you have to teach yourself a way to adapt, then do it. But do it now. Learn how to adapt when you're still young like you are, because you can still learn new things at your age. I can still learn new things at mine, but it's a lot easier for you at 15, 16 years old, dude, than it is going to be when you're fucking 40. Trust me, brother. don't ever be too scared to try something, dude. That's my biggest regret, is I should have tried different things that I wanted to do. I just told myself I couldn't do them because everybody else told me that, but yeah, George Carlin, I think, was a lot smarter dude than people give him credit for, but once again, it's hard for people to take a comedian seriously because you're a comedian, you know what I mean? Part of your job is not to be taken seriously, so it's a hard balance. And comedians like him, you kind of had to be I don't want to say a smart person, but you couldn't be just, a one track mind person and really get what he was getting at. You had to be pretty open-minded and willing to accept others and all this other shit. And yeah, I don't know. I wish he could be around now. Some people say comedians like that wouldn't survive today, but I honestly think people like him would, because they were smart enough to understand. Yeah, he's a pretty funny dude. I've heard not all of his stuff by any means, or a good portion, but some enough to know who you're talking about. Yeah, he's a funny dude. Right? Yeah, and see, that's the other thing with my old man that pissed me off, is I have a relative, she married a girl. She's in the army, she married a girl, and it made me mad one day when my dad was like, well, it's straight up, your cousin's gonna be going to hell because, what she chose in her life. And I'm like, that's crazy. It's like, my cousin's one of the nicest girls you'll ever meet. She couldn't be more polite and kind. It's like, do you hear yourself? And her dad feels the same way about it. I don't think he came to her wedding, and it's just sad. It makes me sad that there are actually people that think that just because of a person who they choose to love can't go where they're going, even if they're good people. That's weird. But yet, people who think like me we're the weirdos, and that's the weirdest part, I guess. I don't know. People just stopped fighting and got along, the world would be a lot fucking better place. And I know that's cliche, but it's the most truest cliche thing I think you could probably say, is if everybody could just find a way to get along with who they liked, stay the fuck away from people they didn't, and just had to be civil to everybody. You don't have to be best friends with everybody, but you could at least be civil to the people you need to be civil with. And if you fucking can't, then just stay the fuck away from them, right? I mean, is that so hard? Right? I know, but everybody's version of God is so different. That's the problem. It's not centralized. It's just all so broad that everybody has different views, Some people believe in the same God but still have different opinions on things. My dad's favorite saying was, well, you can't take the Bible literal. I get that, yeah. But then you can't take the Bible literal either, and that's the book you're talking about. That's your book. That's your God's book that he and the disciples and all these people wrote and want you to follow, but you can't take it literal. That's what? It's like, do you hear yourself? Like, do you even know what the word literal means? Like, it means real, like real, literally. Not, well, you pick and choose what you want to take from it. No. You gotta take the good with the bad. You have to admit that you used to be able to stone a chick because she cheated on somebody. And according to your book, you should still be able to do that. But you can't. You can't do that. We know that as a human fucking race. As a human being, you can't stone a person for doing something like that, because that's not right. What they did wasn't right, but you sure as shit can't stone them for it. You can't own slaves. Can't whip people just because they do something you don't like. That's wrong. It's wrong. Yeah, just be a good fucking person, man. Just be kind. Enjoy it while you're here. Like I said, I tell people all the time when they try to give me the, well, you need to believe in something. I'm like, I do believe in something. I just don't believe in one thing. I'm really rooting for reincarnation. I'm not gonna lie. If I had to like choose, if I had to like get to choose, what I believe is, happens after I die, is I hope I get to either come back as another person. Like, I really hope past lives is a thing. Because I mean, yeah, even though you don't know it, but how cool. How cool. Right? That's the, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the History of the World Part 1 by Mel Brooks. It could be one of the funniest movies I've ever personally watched from start to finish, and you really have to pay attention. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there. But goddamn, there's that part where he's got the commandments, and he's like, these 15 commandments. And he fucking drops one of the pallets with 5, and then he looks around and he's like, 10 commandments. I remember even as a little kid laughing so hard I thought I was going to throw up, but the older I got, you think that joke would get old, but yet the more I laugh now knowing what I know, it's just fucking hilarious. Because it's like, man, it makes me wonder what those 5 commandments were. But yeah, if you haven't seen it before and you like a comedy and you're willing to put up with literally, old school, movie, it's not, it's not new. It's from like the late 70s, early 80s or some shit. But History of the World Part 1. Like I said, it's very slapstick. It's very, knee slap humor. But at the same time, it's very, it's eye-opening because it's very real. Like, it's very real. It's how I think. That whole movie is literally how I feel like I think about things. It's how I look at things. And I enjoy it. Some people think it's probably crazy, but it's just kind of the humor, how you look in things. It makes me want to go find that movie see if it's on like my Amazon video or whatever we have on here. Any Mel Brooks movie is fucking awesome. I'm sure that sounds horrible because some of them are like really dirty and probably considered racist nowadays, but I don't care. I think he's a fucking comedy genius. But that movie by far is probably one of my favorite comedies ever. You gotta watch that whole movie. But yeah, that scene is probably like, it made me laugh the most from just, like I said, even as a little kid, I remember just busting up laughing. But there was a lot of stuff as a kid I didn't, get. That was the problem, When I got older and I watched it again, I like I said, even still to this day, I catch little things. I'm like, oh my god, I never even noticed that, Or like when they have a scene at the Last Supper with Jesus, and he's taking all their orders, and he's all messed up because it's just, oh, it's hilarious stuff. It's so good. It makes me want to cry. It's just hilarious shit. You guys both gotta go watch that movie, like from start to finish. And proper, it'll be harder for you because, movies these days, but you can do it, I promise. Yep, that's it. It's participation trophy generation, I don't mean that against you, proper, because it's not your fault, Generations should never be blamed for their bullshit because that's how they're raised. That's why they're that generation. They got raised that way. It's the people that raised them's fault. it was the beginning of my generation. I remember all the time when I first started playing sports as a kid, or when you did like Pinewood Derbies and Cub Scouts, or whatever you did as a competitive level. When you first started out, if you didn't finish first or second, you didn't get shit. And second place didn't get nothing compared to the trophy that first place walked away with. First place would take that fucking trophy to the pizza place and put that thing in the middle of the fucking table, and you'd walk in and you'd be jealous as shit because you got a ribbon for second place. Then one day it became, well, ribbons can't, we feel bad because, you know, we don't want kids to feel like they didn't participate and win. Okay, whatever. So give them all ribbons. Well, then it turned into, well, now everybody gets a trophy, right? No. You get a trophy when you win. And if you want it bad, then try harder. But when you start giving everybody trophies, nobody gives a fuck, because no matter what, I get a trophy. I remember one of the kids at my team, the kids' team up here in baseball, they said that right before tournament started. It don't matter, we all get a trophy. Well, we've already lost. Fuck, nobody wants the big one, so fuck it. No, it's pretty simple. I know everybody's like, you know, fuck the police and, you know, defund the police, and I get it. You know, there are a lot of bad cops out there, but with that said, there's a lot of bad bankers. There's a lot of bad this. There's a lot of bad everywhere, but there's also a lot of good everywhere. And we gotta wean out the fucking bad. But we can't get rid of the police. Because I'll be telling you right now, if we get rid of the fucking police, even my little town will go to fuck, because we have people in this town who are dumb as shit, and if they ain't got the cops there to keep them in check, they're gonna get away with some dumbass shit. And I'm not, no, that's not right. We don't get to run around like fucking lunatics. We still have fucking laws, we have fucking rules. And everybody's gotta follow those fucking rules. So, when I hear people like, who get rid of the fuck the police, no, we can't get rid of the police. You can't get rid of that shit, because you need that shit just as much, you know. All these one neighborhoods saying how they're police free, and then 3 days later, guess who they're fucking calling? Because all the drug dealers and all the fucking pimps are in their town. Because guess what? Ain't no cops there. Right? Yeah, people get mad at me because I say words that they say I shouldn't say, and there are certain words, like I will not say the N-word, because it's a fucking disrespectful word. There is no good meaning behind it. And I don't like the fact that other people, you know, get to throw it around and don't have any repercussions for it, but it is what it is. But with that said, I say the word sometimes, and I'm going to say it right now. I'm not being offensive. I say the word retard sometimes. I say retarded. I'll be like, man, that was retarded. You know what I mean? And I don't even think about it. I don't mean it offensive, and I would never say it around a little, you know, if there's some kid, I wouldn't be like, oh, that fucking retarded kid. You know what I mean? But yeah, I remember when I was a huge Eminem fan, when he first came out and everybody was mad as shit because of his homophobic rapping. Don't listen to Eminem then, and if you don't want your kids, don't let your kids listen to him. It's like I told my kids, man, if you don't like something, change the channel, but don't take that away from somebody else just because. Just change the fucking channel. I don't like Friends. I'm going to come right out and say it. I'm not a huge fan of Friends. I didn't mind it the first time around. It wasn't even horrible the second time around. I like Chandler. He's my favorite character on Friends. But I'm sick of fucking Friends now. I don't want to ever have to see another episode of Friends again. But with that said, I am not going to go on a fucking tirade and try to take Friends away just because I don't like Friends. You know what I mean? Because I think it's fucking annoying now after 27 times and 52 times. I'm not going to... If other people want to watch it, I just change the channel. I don't like country music. I think it's the dumbest form of music there is. That's my opinion. But I'm not going to go on Twitter and tell them we should get our country music because all they talk about is broken down cars and broken up with girlfriends and dead dogs and... Yeah, I don't care. If you like country music, good for you. I changed the channel. Simple. Now, I'm not saying the police don't need to have some money taken away from them and given them to other areas, because there is some places, it's like the military, where they spend entirely too much money on wasteful shit just to have the money there. But they gotta figure out a way to give them the money to do what they need to still do to protect people like me, Proper, Lil Red, because we just want to live a good life. And we just need somebody to have our backs, so when some badass motherfucker comes in my yard, I can dial 911 and know that an even more badass motherfucker with a badge and gun is going to come help me get rid of this dumbass in my yard, because if I do it, it's murder. So yeah, country music is awful, but you know what? I don't hate all of it. I like Johnny Cash, even though I don't consider him country for some reason, but for those that do, I get it. But I can't listen to country music, so I just change the channel. I don't take it away from people who do like it. You know, it's just one of those things, dude. Ooh, Jordan. Yeah, but you know, some of those rich people actually did earn that shit. It's not their fault that they got rich. I know people that don't like fucking, you know, Warren Buffett just because he's rich, but it's like, you know, if that dude made money and got fucking rich, how... It's not that you're mad, you're just jealous, you know? But there are some rich people that once they learn how to manipulate the system and make more money and fuck over regular people, they'll do it in a heartbeat. And that's the problem. Most of those people are leaders. They're not people that are actually, you know, business owners. They're fucking our leaders. They're the ones making the rules, because they know by making certain rules, they can get away with shit because, well, they made the fucking rule, right? The biggest problem I think we have right now has nothing to do with race. And I'm not saying there aren't race problems, but our biggest problem right now is we've lost that ability of checks and balances, where everybody has to be checked and you need to be balanced. And if you're not, you're gonna do dumb shit and you're gonna do bad shit and you're gonna fuck people over because nobody's checking you. And I think that's the biggest problem, like with the police. You know, nobody's policing the police. Nobody's policing our leaders. We just assume what they say is the truth and we go with it because we have no other option. But we should have an option. We should have an ability to check and balance that shit and keep things in order. It's just gotten so big. It's impossible now, and they know that. They knew that. Exactly what they wanted. They wanted it so big that it's impossible to check everything. They're going to slip things through because there's so much. You know? You read all the history books, and I know everybody's saying all these, oh, the founding fathers were racist. That's everybody's a fucking racist right now, like you were saying. But if you look back, all of them agreed along one of the biggest things they all agreed upon was the bigger a government gets, the harder it is to keep them in check and keep them from becoming exactly what we all tried to get away from. You know, here we all tried, they say the American Revolution was over taxation and all this jazz, and it probably was, and just wanting to be, you know, our own people and not have to deal with that. But yet, look at what we deal with now. Tax, 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 tax. It's the craziest. It's like, does anyone not pay attention in history class? Like, you look around the room, you're like, anybody else paying attention to this? Because I feel like that's exactly what we do now, just on an even bigger scale. But yet, we all just do it because we're told that's what you're supposed to do, and it's just weird. I feel like I'm not even that smart a person, and I'm sitting back here going, whoa, whoa. Well, what are you going to do, though? Like I said, same thing there. It's such a big business, you know. How do you check and balance all that shit? We got to make sure you don't let things get so fucking big. We just let the government get way too big to where now they can claim they spent $3 billion on paper clips, and instead of asking the question, the really basic and simple question, why did you spend $3 billion on paper clips? We just say, okay, they needed to spend $3 billion on paper clips. But it's like nobody wants to know why. Like, is anybody going to ask the question? This is a lot closer than I anticipated, but go figure. Jordan didn't play nearly as much as I thought he would. Yeah, but I feel like they probably had more benefits than we have now. They tell us what our taxes are going to, but nobody's checking that shit, I guarantee you. I look at some of these roads we have around here, I get told all the time how this tax and that tax is paying for this and that, and I'm like, I don't know, I think somebody forgot to pay for it, because they look like shit. They were mad because they had a fucking king and they didn't want to deal with king and the monarchy and just all the shit that came with it. And a lot of that was the fact that the monarchy used those taxes to do what they did, but they didn't do it over here. They were using all that money over there. They just told us they were going to over here, but once again, we believed them. Regardless of anything, though, it's just the fact of now. You mean, my kid got his first few paychecks from detasseling. And man, when he looked, he's like, what's this shit? He's like, or he didn't say that, but he's like, what's this stuff over here? And I looked at him, I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, this money they took out. He goes, what's that all about? I couldn't help but giggle. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I don't mean to laugh. I know you don't understand what's going on. I was like, but it's a state and federal tax. And he looks at me and I said, it's like anything else. You know, they take, when you go to a store and you buy something, it may say it only costs 99 cents, but you really need $1.07 because of taxes. And he's like, okay. He's like, but they took money away. I'm like, yeah, they'll do that every check. And he looked at me like, what? And I told him, I said, yeah, and actually, the more money you make, the more money they take. And when I said that, oh my God, you would have thought I just dropped the worst thing he's ever fucking heard. Because, you know, he's just happy. You know, he got like a $140 check and he's fucking thrilled. This last time he got like a $240 check and he's ecstatic. Because, I mean, you know, kids in the 8th grade, you know, that's a lot of fucking money for an 8th grader. Hell, it's a lot of money for anybody. But it was just funny. I wish I almost could have got a picture of his face and put it on Facebook and be like, the kid learning about taxes. He was a little happier when I told him that at the end of the year, if you do things right, and, you know, you paid in enough, you do get some money back, usually. Not always. It's not a guarantee, but there's a chance. Alright, so we got the Bulls moving on, 100 to 94. Alright, so we have our entire second round here to get away from all the talk about death and taxes. And Jesus, I feel like we've covered a lot of topics tonight, you guys. My God. Alright, let's see. We got first round or second round matchups are set. We got the Bulls and the Bucks on one side. That's the number 1 seeded Bulls against the number 5 seeded Bucks. On the bottom part of that bracket, we have the Atlanta Hawks, who are the 4 seed, taking on the Sacramento Kings, who are the 9 seed. On the right side of the bracket, in the quarterfinals, we have the 15 seeded Spurs taking on the 11 seeded Lakers, so that should be a good one. And then we'd have at the bottom of the other right side of the bracket in the quarterfinals, we have the Miami Heat, who are the 4 seed, will be taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. And as of right now, the 76ers have the record for the high score for player. Iverson scored 31. So that's the first round. Yeah, I know we could use another stimulus check, but at the same time, I mean, we can't also just be printing money to print money, so I get it, but that first one went pretty fast. I mean, our household of 4 burned through it pretty quick on stuff, so, but I don't know. What time is it? 1:42. I think we're going to do one more game. Just to get her out of the way. Proper. Are you not... You're from Florida, if I remember correct, right? Is that right? Do I have that right, or do I have that wrong? Because the dude that was on here the other night was from Florida, and it was confusing the shit out of me, because I was like, God, I feel like somebody else that watches my stream is from Florida, but I could be wrong. Tell me I'm right here, Proper, because if I'm right, if you want, I will do the Heat and 76ers game right now. Proper, would you like to see the Heat game? So you for sure get to see it live and in person? Because I will do it right now if you're up for it, man. I'm willing to stay up a little longer. It's 1:45 here, but I'm not super tired yet. I've only had one guy so far get a double-double. Nobody's had a triple-double. Alright, let's do it. Alright, let me check out these stats real quick. I forgot to do that last game. Man, they had two guys score 20, but 12 and 5, 8 and 8. He almost had a double-double. Needed 2 more points and 2 more rebounds. Couldn't anyway. You get a cardboard cutout. I don't know, are they doing that in the NBA like baseball's doing, where you can like buy a cardboard cutout? Because my kid was trying to tell me we should like get him a cardboard cutout for the Cubs, and I was like, yeah, something tells me that's not cheap. Alright, let's see. We got the 76ers were the 10 seed. That means they get to be the away team because the low seeds get to be the home. So we need to go all the way back because they're the number. That's before the A's. And then we need to go this way. There they are. Yeah, I think it's in Florida, man. I think it's down at their big, whatchamacallit. That big, fucking sports fucking complex they have there right offside of Disney. They're like super sports complex. From what I understand, it's down in Florida, man, because they, I think there's probably, at the end of the day, the teams that they needed to get there was more teams probably closer to Florida than there were in California, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is in Cali, but for some reason I want to say it's in Florida. Alright, so these guys have to use those jerseys, I believe. And then the Heat. Okay, it's in Florida. Alright, you get to pick the jerseys here, Proper, since this is your hometown team, or at least one of them. Do you want to use the dark icons? Or do you want to use the, I believe, the red statement? Icon or statement? I know there's nothing different other than color, but I can't decide. Right? Yeah, I don't think that'll fly. Dark icons. Hey, good, man. That's who I was gonna pick, was those right there. That looks like a good matchup. Alright. So yeah, first round, the Heat knocked out the Magic, and the Magic were the number 3 seed. So the Heat, as a 14 seed, knocked out the 3 seed. Like I said, the Magic kicked the shit out of the 2 teams I used to decide which 16 were going to be here. And the Heat barely made the tournament. When you think about it, I only took 16 teams, and they were the 14th point margin, so they just snuck into the tournament. But yet, they knocked out Penny and Shaq. And I was surprised, because I thought young Shaq was going to kick the shit out of old Shaq, but it didn't go that way. So yeah, the Heat won 110-102, And then the 76ers got here by beating, of all teams, the higher-seeded Warriors. The Warriors were the 7 seed, but they got beat 101-90 by the 76ers. And like I said, a lot of that was because of Iverson scoring 31. So, right? They do look pretty cool. And if I'm right, the NBA has it weird where it's like the home team, I think, wears the light jerseys and the away team wears the dark. And if it was me, you'd think you'd want it the other way around. Like, I don't know, but I guess, whatever. So yeah, we got Mo Cheeks and Tim Hardaway. That's a pretty good matchup. AI and Dwayne Wade. That's literally spot across, 97-97. They got a little edge with LeBron James, but I'm not going to lie when I say that 94 Julius Erving should probably be a 97. Because he's quick to the basket. When he goes to the basket, he goes. Moses Malone and Zoe, I feel like that's pretty much a, scratch, crate across. And then I feel like the 76ers have a little edge with Wilt Chamberlain down there after watching the last 2 games. So, personally, I would have to say, I don't want to do it, but I have to say the 76ers here. But I'd like to see LeBron James make it to the next round because it'd be kind of cool to get to see the Lakers win, him play a team that he's not on yet because they didn't put him on the Lakers team, but still. So, let's see what happens here. This will be the last game of the night, though. Just throwing that out there now because, yeah. It'll probably be close to 2:30-ish, if not a little later after, so I got to get a little bit of sleep before my kids are waking me up at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning going, hey, wake up, wake up. Shit, I don't know. We're just going to guess Gordon Hayward. Nope. I don't know. I didn't watch that shit. I wouldn't know. Alright, so here we go. Last game was the Heat didn't get a home game last time. They had to play at Orlando. The 76ers, though, weren't the home team, and both these teams won on the road, per se. Well, you can't really. He was one of the best of his generation, but he wasn't one of the best of all time because he just didn't have the time to prove it. But I think if he'd have played for as long as he could have played, and if he would have only played one sport, he'd have been known as one of the best of either. That's the crazy part. Like I said, I remember hearing the story that gets told about him when the Yankees scout showed up to watch him hit. He had already, he finished for the day and he wasn't going to hit anymore. And the Yankees scout showed up and he's like, "Hey, Steinbrenner sent me here. I'm supposed to watch Bo." And the coach told him no. The coach said, "No, Bo's done for the day. Sorry, it doesn't matter who you're here to see and who you're from. You'll have to come back tomorrow." Well, Bo got word of it and he said, "Listen, I'll hit a few for him, over in the batting cage." And the coach said, "Are you sure?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll do it real quick." Coach takes him over, said he hit, I can't believe it was the first or if it was the second ball he hit, but he hit it so fucking hard that he actually broke the batting cage. And the Yankee scout looked at the coach and said, "Thanks, I've seen enough." He looked at Bo and said, "Thanks, Bo," and left. And then they had to fix the batting cage. So yeah, but he also had to play with Marcus Allen, who at the time was known as one of the greatest running backs of all time. So, and then he broke a hip. Like, not kind of broke it, but like broke a fucking hip. So, I'll always argue that he's one of the greatest athletes, but I can't say that he's like the greatest halfback ever or the greatest, baseball player ever or in that category. But I have no problem saying he was one of the greatest athletes ever, but he's one of the greatest players of a generation. That's like Barry Sanders, though. Imagine if that guy plays for a few more years. I saw him play in person too in college. It was a different experience. It's like watching a fucking fly buzz around a bunch of giants, and none of the giants could swat the little son of a bitch because he was just gone. But we still won. We won the game, but he was sure a pain in the ass. I always wonder though if Barry Sanders would have played for a different team if he'd have played longer. If the Lions literally, he was just like, no, I'm done with this shit. I'm not doing this anymore, and there's nothing you can pay me to make me want to do it anymore. Because those Lions teams he were on, you almost felt bad for him. I remember watching games on Thanksgiving with my family members and just thinking, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? It's like, do they realize how good of a running back they have? Why don't they do something to help this fucking guy? Right? Yeah. We'll see. I thought that about a lot of running backs, but once again, like a lot of unfortunate things, running backs in the NFL, they don't last very long. I've seen guys that I thought, damn, dude, that guy's going to do some things, and then 3 years later, you're like, whatever happened to that guy? Like, where the fuck is he even playing? They're like, no, I don't even play anymore. You're like, what? Like, how is that even a thing? Oh, D. Wade taking it from AI. Like Chris Johnson, is that his name? That fucking dude that was like the speed demon. Everybody thought he was just gonna be like the next coming of, the greatest thing next to fucking sliced cheese, and then now it's like, I don't even know where the fucking dude is anymore, it seems like what the fuck? How does that happen? But it's like, welcome to being a running back in the NFL, man. Yep. It's just crazy because it's like, you watch that guy's, his work that he put out there, you're thinking, damn, this guy's gonna be really fucking, like, he's a real deal, and then you're like, where the fuck happened? Where'd he go? It's just kind of crazy. But that's part of it. If you want to be a fucking Hall of Famer, a legend, you can't just be good for a little bit. You gotta be good for fucking a long time. And that shit's hard. Yep, Marion Barber. That's a good example. That's a very good example. Shit, even Ricky Williams, dude. I mean, I know some people are not a big fan, but that fucker dude tore some shit up for a while, and you just thought, man, this guy is gonna be something fucking else, and then next thing you know, it's just some dude with dreadlocks just smoking some weed, Not to blame weed, but it's like, I don't know what the fuck. It's like, how? It's just weird. And like I said, seems to only happen, like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen with other positions, but on the norm with running backs, they're just, I don't know. But like I said, when you think about it, man, they get a lot of fucking wear and tear that other guys just, don't have to fucking deal with. But they get a lot of attention because they have a lot of, chance to touch the ball. So, but sometimes that can work against you with attention. That can come bad attention. So, right. I can just think of so many running backs that were really good football players that should probably have been Hall of Famers, but because they played running back, after about 5, 6, 7 years, they just, they were done. Because he's T.O., he's one of those guys that I have a problem with, that just couldn't keep his fucking mouth shut and just get paid a lot of money to do what he does best. But Jerry Rice understood it. Jerry Rice knew the thin line between being a wide receiver with attitude, but yet not being a fucking asshole in public to make it so, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he is an asshole, but I'm just saying Jerry Rice seemed like a pretty demanding motherfucking guy of his quarterbacks. You know, give me the goddamn ball. You know, Randy Moss. You know, he kind of, you know, he crossed that line, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, Randy Moss just wanted to fucking win. But he wanted the damn football. But that's just because he thought that was the best chance to win, was get him the damn ball. You know, T.O. was just kind of a mouth, and he just didn't know when to shut the fuck up. And he didn't know when he had a good thing. He couldn't stay on one team. It was like, just fucking stay on a team, dude. You know, Marvin Harrison, once again, not to take anything away from the guy, you know, because I mean, he's a fucking professional football player, but sometimes I wonder if he doesn't have Peyton Manning for all those years, does he have the stats that he had? Does he get the same stats playing for any, you know, I'm not saying going to shit quarterback, but, you know, even if he played for a decent quarterback, does he still have all those catches and all those yards if he's not getting, you know, thrown to fucking all the time? Yeah, I don't know though. Anquan Bolden was one of those dudes that I think he was a lot better than some people realized. I don't think people have kind of appreciated his craft, but I can understand it because, you know, he's got, you know, but with him it's also, you got to remember, it's that Florida State swagger, you know, it's a thing. I have to try to remember that about some guys from Miami's, you know, the University of Miami sometimes. Like, it's hard for me because they got that fucking attitude that I don't care for. It's like, just shut up and play, you know, less talk, more action. I'm not saying you can't talk. I mean, yeah, I get it, but sometimes you can take that talk to where it's all talk, no action. It's like all bark, no bite kind of deal, and that's how I feel like with Miami anymore. I don't listen to them anymore because they talk so much that's like, man, you gotta bite me, and they don't. They just bark. In the 80s they were like a Rottweiler. In the 90s they started to fucking lose that. Now they're just kind of the Chihuahuas. It's just, they don't shut the fuck up, but they also don't do anything about it. So yeah. Yeah, the 90, what would have been the 94 team. They were fast, but it didn't matter. So what, the 94 was the Miami, 95 was Florida, 97 was Tennessee. All those teams thought they were fast. Yep, that is true. I still think one of the coolest things ever though is when, if you talk, like you know, they have it on documentaries, but I've talked to a couple guys that played that Miami game for Nebraska. I've made friends with them on Facebook, and I asked them if it was true, if at halftime, if at the beginning and halftime of that game, if Coach Osborne told them pretty much, shut up, don't talk, just play, let them do all the talking, because by the second half they're going to have talked so damn much that they're going to not only be exhausted, but they're going to get themselves a stupid penalty when it really matters. And all you need to do is just walk away. And there was a play where Christian Peter, one of our biggest trash talkers, probably the biggest mouths we had on that team, had a moment where he could have done something. He could have reacted, and he could have, you know, fought back in defense, and he would have gotten the penalty. But instead, the Miami guys got the penalty. We got a first down. We went down and scored a touchdown, and the rest was history. And it's like, damn, you can slow them down. You just let them talk. That'll slow them down. And they said that's exactly. He kept preaching it. Just shut up and play. Don't draw into their game of, you know, because that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get under your fucking skin and make you either make a mistake because you're worried about them, or else you're going to say or do something stupid and the refs are going to call it on you, because it's never the first guy, it's always the second guy. But if there's only one guy, they have no choice. Don't just, don't be that guy. But like I said, I understand it. You could tell in the 80s it worked. It worked for Miami. That swagger, just that, that attitude, it worked. But I think, like I said, like anything else, after a while, people aren't affected by it. It's like I said, it's the kid that you slap all the time. Yeah, it may work the first couple times, but if you keep slapping that kid, eventually they ain't gonna bother him anymore. It's like the spanking thing, you can only spank a kid for so long, because at a certain point you spanked him so much it's just more of a joke now. Yep. He's good, but yeah, I think he does get a lot of credit just because of the way he acts, and he acts the part. He's like, oh, I'm badass, and people buy into it. But once again, sometimes it makes you wonder, if a guy just shuts up, would he actually be doing better if he just shut the fuck up and played? Instead of talking so much shit, let your abilities do the talking for you. Like I said, I have no problem with a little trash talking. I get it. It's part of sports. I played catcher in baseball. I talked all the time. But I never tried to cross that line where it was like, okay, now you're just talking to talk. Like I said, I would talk a lot the first time they came up to bat to get in their head a little bit. But then the second time, I almost didn't say shit. Like, I was like, literally, I only talked to my pitcher. Didn't even act like they were in the box. Then, depending upon, at that point, by the third time you came up to bat, then it was depending on how the game was going. And if I thought that first time I chatted with you, if I thought it got in your head, I might talk to you again the third time you come up now. But it's not going to be as much, but it'll be a little chit-chat just to take your mind off that pitch. And I even taught my catchers that the year I had freshman baseball when I was the coach. It was crazy. I was like 21 years old, 22. And I was coaching a bunch of these freshman kids. And my catcher, I had one catcher who was like really badass, and another who was, he was my backup catcher. He was a bigger guy, which is why he kind of got stuck at catcher. And he could do it, but he wasn't nearly as good. But I remember telling them both, you need to learn how to talk. You don't need to be nasty. You don't need to be offensive or rude. But there are certain things you can do that can get a guy's attention and take his mind off of what he's doing. And at that point, when you're trying to hit a baseball coming in fast, it's hard enough. But when you got somebody kind of chirping, most of the time I get away with it. But from time to time, you get that ump that would just tell you, hey, he'd say, catch, enough's enough. At home I got away with shit a lot more because the guy thought it was hilarious. Because like I said, I would talk to him about, I don't even remember some of the stuff. I remember some of it, I'd like, in small towns, people, and you knew a guy had a sister. You'd be like, how's your sister? What's your sister up to these days? Most time you'd get, dude, just shut up. You'd be like, alright, just curious, just asking, just trying to make some chit chat while we're both standing here, like, sitting in this batter's box, sitting back here all night can get tedious. Just trying to chit chat, no big deal. Sometimes I'd ask him, so is your mom here tonight? Your mom come to the game to watch you? Is your mom in the stands? Is she here? Ask him if their grandma's there. Anything to make them nervous. Anything that made me nervous, or I knew made my friends nervous, I would use against the other team. Because I figure if we're nervous, they're probably just as nervous as we are. The difference is I'm going to call them out on it. I'm going to make them think about it a little bit. My favorite, though, is when other catchers would try to do it back to me. It's like, yo, this is my game. You can't play my game, and it's not gonna work. Like, I'd chit chat right back with them. Like, how you doing, Redder? Are you ready for this? I'd be like, yeah, I'm good, totally ready. You should tell him to throw something a little off speed. I've been taking extra in the batting cage the last couple days. If nothing, try to roll reverse with him, you know, make him not want to throw me something, you know. Back feeling good about them off speed pitches tonight. You should have him throw some more of them. And then they don't know, is he being serious, or then they throw you a fastball because, well, now they don't want to throw you that off speed shit. I loved playing catcher. Hated it when they're like, Rediger, can you play third today? I'd be like, oh man, you can't talk to anybody unless they get to third, and if they're getting to third, that's not a good thing. God damn it. It's like, I don't want to have to talk to anybody if I'm playing third. Proper, I think we might have lost Lil Red. I hope I didn't bore her to death or something. Oof. The glove steals it away. Oh man, I know one thing, I definitely gotta go to bed after this game. Shit, AI's not having a good game tonight. He killed it last time. He was literally a one-man wrecking crew. Oh, we're gonna have a small man jump ball here. These guys probably never had a jump ball in their lives. Ooh, Mo Cheeks got the best of him. Yeah, this is very close again, but I've also seen other games that are close 1 minute and then they're not the next, or the other way around, where like last game the Bulls were kicking the shit out of Indiana in the first quarter, but by the end, man, they were only winning by 4 points. It's like, that's crazy. It's basketball, dude. It's a game of runs, not the diarrhea kind, but the scoring kind. 1 minute you're down by 12, the next minute you're up by 6. It's like, how the fuck did that just happen? It's like, oh, they went on a 16-2 run. Just like that, dude. Fucking AI can warm up just like that. Right? Yeah, it is one of those weird sports where a guy can be 6'1" and look like he's tiny. But what do you expect? I mean, when you got a rim that's, what, 9-10 feet off the ground, the best chance to have is to have a guy that's closest to the rim. And if not, you better be able to do that shit from away from the rim. If you're going to be 6'1" or 6'2", you better be able to shoot from distance, because that's going to be your best chance. What a fucking matchup, dude. LeBron James and Dr. J. Whoa. That was a nasty fucking crossover. Even I saw that shit. He made Dwayne Wade look real bad on that crossover. Fuck, man. You don't get a nickname like Allen Iverson did unless you are really good. His nickname was The Answer. Oh, right at half to tie it up. Damn, I didn't think that was going to count for a second. Damn. 48-40 at half. It's fixing to be a good game here. Sorry, Ernie, Shaq, and Kenny, but we gotta go. I gotta get this game going so I can get some sleep. Both teams are shooting the same. Heat have a little more on the block side, otherwise it's pretty even all the way across the board here. Right, yeah. Corner's got to be able to jump in football. A lot of those guys, though, they have to have speed, too. They can't be too tall and lanky. Shit, dude, he's just... Imagine this, though. He's got 19 points, and he's not doing nearly as well as he did last game. That's saying something. Like I said, he scored 31 points last game, but he also had like 23 at half, and he'd only missed like one shot. This game, he missed 5 shots, and he has 19 points, so yeah. Whoa, that's a rejection right there. Oh, and then AI gets the foul. And one. Shit, that was big. Oh, so they did take, I guess, a 50 to 48 lead. Oh, that's weird. Once again, I feel like Miami does better with their starters out there, but when the bench comes out and starts mixing in with the starters, it seems as though the 76ers start doing a little better, so I don't know. Usually that team has the advantage that has guys that can come off the bench and play well with the starters compared to the teams that just have the best starting 5, but we'll see. Oh, that was a good little pass. I know, right? Like, after I watched this and I sat here and I saw the rosters, not only do they just have the all-time teams, dude, they have classic teams. So, like, they have the Bulls from the years that the Bulls won championships, and they have all the Laker teams from back in the day, and, you know, the more modern teams. They have the Cavaliers teams that won with LeBron James, and then, you know, so it's like literally they have like the 85-86 Bulls and, you know, the 2001 Lakers. So it's like not only do they have the greatest teams of all time, but they also have classic teams from just one year. And it's like, fuck, Madden needs to take a lesson from that shit, because that'd be fucking cool. And baseball needs to do that. Baseball kind of has something. They have a thing where you can play with, like, the Slammers, which is pretty much the all-90s team. And then they have, you know, the Boomers, which is the all-60s teams. And that's cool, but like I said, the greatest teams of all time and all that shit, that's pretty fucking awesome. Damn. Just back and forth, back and forth. Right? I don't know. It's like I said, I prefer EA just because I feel like they've been making football games, especially on the college side, for so long that it's just hard for me to look at others. But anymore, it's like they're all starting to look the same because a lot of them, you know, they use these engines and they make things, and it's like pretty quick it ain't gonna matter anymore. They're just gonna have to come together as a group and make a football game or make a baseball game rather than try to, you know, compete, because by competing they're just gonna take away from the game, because only one can get the license. You know what I mean? So like only one game can be, quote, licensed. And it's like, it's pretty simple. Whoever has the license is always going to be the most popular one, even if it's not the best game, unfortunately. So you're really not buying the best game, you're just getting the game that has the license for the rights. So golf was a prime example of that. Rory McIlroy proved to me it doesn't matter if it's the best game, whoever has the rights is going to be more popular. And at the time, that's over. Yeah, what the fuck, Mo? You know, I didn't realize it, but I thought Rory was the best golf game until I played that, you know, golf club game, and I realized, hold on, you know, they just don't have a license, but this game's actually better, so I'm going to play the other one. But everybody was like, nope, Rory's better. It's like, no, it's not. It's like, it kind of sucks. But it is what it is. Now, golf club got the license, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like even golf saw, like, hey, EA isn't making the best golf game right now, so we're going to give our license to who is. I just want to see somebody make a college football game that can actually have all the real teams, and like I said, I don't even give a shit if it has to be quarterback number 10. I don't care. I can add his own name. Ooh, there's an alley-oop. I need a college football game that I can take my kids from 4 years in college and then go to the NBA draft with them, god damn it, and export them onto the game. Well, if you're doing things right, you don't need it. That's the problem. They've just, like you said, they've probably just gotten lazy and they don't have to push anything, but I think they're realizing, man, we might have to. Like, we just can't put out crap and expect people to eat it up, because pretty soon people are going to stop. Like I said, I've played, excuse me, I'm starting to get tired. I've played every college football game on every game that the PlayStation had since, the original PlayStation. And I don't know, every year I felt like it was a better game than the year before. But I can't say that about Madden, because there's been certain Maddens that I like better than others. But like, everybody's like, oh, what was your favorite college football? What was your favorite version? It was like the last one. Like, every year was my favorite one. Yeah. Well, that's one thing you'll never get, is a fucking major company like any of the professional sports to just say, yeah, do with whatever you like with it. Because, yeah, they know how much money they're losing. Part of that too is, if one, like, say one game, you don't have to worry about licensing. If one game does a really poor version of you, it can affect you. You know what I mean? Like, baseball, I feel like, has that problem, because they have all this stupid backyard baseball, and they have like 6 different baseball games, and it's like, Jesus Christ, just, you only need one. I mean, let's be honest, we need one game, the game, baseball that year. Major League Baseball needs to figure it out and decide, who they're going with, and that needs to be the baseball game. After that, if you want to have a cool backyard baseball game with made-up cartoon characters, whatever. But I don't like the fact that they have, like, multiple games that people can, because, yeah, for starters, that isn't baseball. Like, I want baseball. I want it to be like baseball. I don't want, what was that one game they used to have back in the day? NFL Street. I fucking hated that game. I couldn't stand it. It was the dumbest shit ever. Like, this isn't even fun. It's like, I guess if you're a little kid, maybe, but they might as well just, they shouldn't use real guys, because it was stupid. But there were those one games where you could, like, break bones and do all this other stuff, where it was like made up teams and made up characters and stuff. Like, that shit was alright, because it was like make believe, it was a made up thing. Right? That's funny. Yeah, I used to love playing, franchise or dynasties, stuff like that. I never hardly ever played any online, because I didn't need to. It was like, I don't need to play other people. I can play whatever league I want to set up. But franchises and all that stuff, just, I don't know. Once again, like I said, my favorite part of the Madden franchises was when I could bring my college players and use them on the game, and it felt like it was, I don't know what the word is. It just felt more real, because it was like, I already had these guys. They're not just made up names. That's the one thing I hate about drafting now, is it's just, you have no connection. Even if it was from another team, you like, oh, I had to play that dude a couple times in college. He was badass. I'm drafting him. Now it's like, well, you just have this dude from Morehead State. Or, this, and it's like, first of all, their colleges are always twisted. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, how did, Antelope Valley end up with dudes in the draft? It's like, there was one year where I remember there was like 0 dudes from Nebraska, Miami, any of the big schools, but there was all these dudes from some stupid ass, like, Mississippi Valley, some shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, they can't do any better with this? It's like, it didn't seem like it'd be hard to put in a computer program to pick, more schools from the blue bloods that, people are fans of, compared to, a guy that comes from Antelope Valley. I don't know, it just seemed odd. And I know that seems, non-equin, like it doesn't have any matter over the game, but at the end of the day, it kind of does. To some people, it matters, I guess. I don't know. Just because it doesn't matter to a developer doesn't mean it's not going to matter to somebody that buys the game. And I think, sometimes I wonder if it's more about what matters to them and what they actually worry about what matters to the people playing the motherfucker. So, like, I get shit has to change, but sometimes if something isn't broken, don't fix it. I think they've spent too much time worrying about special moves and jumping over and double jukes and all these crazy things than just the basics, like where'd a guy go to college. When I scout guys, I don't want to have to rearrange these motherfuckers. Like, I just want to scout them, and yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I feel like they've put a lot of time and effort into things that don't matter and very little time into effort into things that actually do. Damn, they have 5 fouls going into the fourth quarter. That's not good. That means every foul they at least get a one-on-one. Your Heat are pulling away here. Like I said, I was rooting for the 76ers, not because they're from Philly by any means, but just because I like Dr. J and Allen Iverson. But right now, it's not enough. But every time I think that, the 76ers start pulling back close again, so we'll see. Right? I was gonna say, yeah. My biggest complaint is I don't think they need to go as far as to making me decide how much a hot dog costs. Like that kind of shit, they could. I don't mind having. I don't even have a problem with ticket prices, but we don't need to go as far down to how much they want for a Super Bowl sweater or a fucking T-shirt or stuff like that. Like, I don't even care if you have to like buy. Like, I don't even mind if you have to, like, say you want to buy a center that sells the shirt. But what I think is crazy is then you have to price the fucking shirt or all that shit. I have no problem with upgrading equipment. I just don't think you should have to put in prices and all that shit. And yeah, I don't know. Little things like that. If they cut that kind of shit out. Damn, Shaq just fucking smoked him. Down by 10 now. That's trouble. You don't want to get down by 10 to any of these teams, but definitely not this one. Oof. Damn. That's like the third time now I've watched him just fly past D Wade. They might want to find somebody else to block Iverson, because I don't know if Wade can do it tonight. Between that crossover earlier and then that shit, dude. right? And I think there are, there are things you can like, whoa, that was a jam. There's things you can do so you don't, but I think they just need to take it out completely. I think it is. I don't think there's any point of it. Even if you want to be a general manager, it should be more about your players' contracts than that shit. But I don't know. I guess once again, like to each your own. Some people, I suppose, enjoy it, so I guess. I just think it kind of seems like of all the things you could take out, that'd be one of them that would free up a ton of time to do other things. Same with like all the customization they got now, all the way down to their fucking like colors of their shoes. Just put them in fucking shoes. Like that's the one thing my kids spend so much time on is like when they make a guy is like, all the way down to their shoelaces. I was like, guys, this doesn't matter. It's one thing to pick the bat you might use when they give you a bat that has high power or whatever because it's +6 power and +6 contact. But at the end of the day, it's like, who fucking cares what color the bat is? It's like if they just took out little things here and there and spent a little more time on other things, but whatever. Right? Well, I think they honestly worry, and they might be right, that some of that shit might be honestly, and it's crazy what it used to be. I like the way it kind of used to be, where it was like, okay, you know, it it wasn't even the signing bonus. It was pretty much just years, and then how much. And the longer the contract, the more it was spread out, or the shorter the contract, the bigger it was on the front end. And then you just had to decide, do I want to take the risk of keeping this guy around and having to maybe trade him for that big and hope somebody will take on that contract, or... But it also was kind of cool when they added in stuff like signing bonuses, because you had to put that into consideration and it helped you out with your cap and all that. But some people, like I said, my kids, they don't, that almost is too much then, and they don't even do it. They put it on like auto sign, but then you take the risk of not signing somebody and then you're out that guy, and it's like, I don't know. But like I said, some of the games, they have those options where you can kind of change that stuff up. But it's kind of crazy when you put it on auto sign, how it's like your best player, they may not sign him because they don't think it's fit, but it's like, hey, I kind of wanted that guy. Like, I just didn't want to have to sit here and figure out a contract because it was fucking tedious shit, and he wouldn't agree to nothing that I felt was fair. Because that was my biggest problem with the Madden franchise I had last time was, man, I feel like I was giving dudes more than a fair amount, and they're like, nope. And then I'd watch him sign a contract on another team for less years and less money than I was offering him, and they would have made a lot more, and it was like, Jesus, are you kidding me? Right? And shit, on baseball, you can even decide if you want the contract to be front end loaded or back end loaded, so you can put it all on, in the first couple years of the contract, and then it actually gets smaller throughout the contract. They had it where you can, keep it more to the back end, where, in years 5 through 7, it's going to be more. In the next few years, it's not going to be as much off your cap. Like I said, the hardest thing with baseball is right now they have such a crazy thing, like with compensation picks, where they started putting that into the game, and some of it's cool, but some of it's like so hard to understand, where it's like, okay, if you have one of the first 10 picks, and you sign this guy, you have to give up your pick unless you have a top 10 pick, then you get a pick, and then they get your second round pick. It's like, oh my god, now you're getting a little crazy. It's like, just let me trade my picks for picks and get what I get, and yeah. But like I said, it's part of the game. Protected free agents and stuff like that, it's all part of it. So now this game's pretty well over here. Oh, now you got LeBron getting fouled too. right? I can't remember which Madden there was, but I remember me and my buddy used to play a lot of franchise where, like I said, I was kind of like the offensive coordinator and special teams, and he handled defense. But I also did all the off-season shit because the system was at my house. So during the off-season, I would just knock that shit out, and then he'd come over and, you know, play the games with me. But there was one year I figured out where by signing guys to like 10-year-long contracts for outrageous amounts of money, but yet it did something where it actually gained you not like a little bit but like a lot of money. So you could sign like somebody to like a 10-year contract but for a little bit of money, but for some reason it went and gave you money into your cap. And like I said, I know sometimes you can work a deal out where you can gain a little cap from it by doing it, but this was like a glitch where you could just build a fucking dynasty, but you signed all your, you know, pretty much bench guys to long contracts. And yeah, it was crazy. Because my buddy would come over and he'd be like, how the fuck did you do that? And I'd be like, I don't know. I signed this one dude to a long contract. Next thing I knew, they were giving us like fucking $7 million extra onto our cap. So I would just go sign another badass motherfucker in free agency. He'd show up, we'd have like a 97 overall team, and he'd be like, what the hell, how much did you spend? And I'd be like, nah, dude, check out our cap, we still have like 70 million. He'd be like, what the fuck? Shit, I don't even know, dude. I've been so far out of Madden. Do whatever you haven't done before or something, I don't know. That or pick a team that you normally wouldn't pick or something and relocate them or some shit. Take a team that you absolutely hate the most and relocate them, or go be the Patriots and then move them somewhere. That'd be funny. First they lose their quarterback, then they lose their team. Right? Yeah, I can't remember, somebody had messaged me on Twitter about some shit. I can't remember if that was it, but they were saying something about if you signed somebody and traded him or something. There was a couple different, there was like a pick glitch where you could do something with certain picks with certain teams, and you could give them a shitty guy and they would like give you their fucking first and third or something. I don't remember. It's been so long now since I did any franchise shit on there. Nice. Those are always fun when you figure something out and you're like, whoa, I wish I'd been doing that this whole time. Well, this game looks to be over. I'll let it finish out, but it ain't looking good for the 76ers here. It looks like the Miami Heat will be our first semi-final team. Right? There was somebody else, I can't, who the fuck was that? I was blown away because I like offered him like two just shitty. Oh my god, Allen Iverson and Shaq have to do a jump ball. If that ain't a mismatch, if Allen Iverson wins this jump ball, I'm gonna say the Philadelphia 76ers won, dude, okay? There you go. But yeah, I can't remember who it was, but there was some dude I traded away. Like I said, I gave him my 7th and 6th round pick, and I got their 1st round pick and the guy. And I thought for sure they're not going to accept it. I was more just pissed off because I couldn't get a trade to work, and they accepted it. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, did they really just say yes to that, or did I read that wrong? And I looked, and I was like, holy shit. You could move the Washington Redskins to Mexico City. That would make everybody happy, because then you couldn't claim any form of racism if you move a team to Mexico City. I mean, come on. Nothing would be better than making all those Redskins fans from back in the day have to travel down to Mexico to watch a football game, right? It's like the ultimate poetic justice for some of them, right? Still think you should be the Patriots and you should move them to like fucking Vancouver. Or better yet, move the Patriots to Lincoln, Nebraska, man. Alright, so what do we got? 105 to 91. That means the Heat will move on as the 4 seed. They will take on the winner of the San Antonio Spurs Lakers. So we actually could end up with another Shaq versus Shaq matchup, because he had to play young Shaq in the first one. So, but yeah, that's our first semifinal team. The first member of the Final Four, I guess, is the Miami Heat, man. Let's check out some stats, and then I'm gonna call her a night. D Wade led you there, 27. He didn't break the record, but that's second highest I've seen so far. Said AI's 31 in round 1 was the most, but that's the second most right there. LeBron 16, 1 rebound, 3 assists. Tim Hardaway had a couple steals, 7 assists. Mourning almost had a double-double. 1 rebound short, man. But he had 3 blocks. Look at Shaq. 6 fucking blocks, dude. He may be old, but he can still get up in the way, so... And he had 2 steals. Otherwise, everybody down here, well, Whiteside went 5 points and 4 boards. And for the 76ers, unfortunately, they're done. Iverson broke his record. He got 33, so he may be out of the tournament, but right now he still holds the record for number 1 and 2 now. So he scored more points than anybody, but unfortunately, he's done now. That's it. They didn't rebound for shit. Look at that. No rebounds, no rebounds, no rebounds, no rebounds. That's crazy. And the guys that didn't end up with many points, so... Yup. Alright, well, Proper, Little Red, I don't know if you're still there, but I gotta call her a night. I'll most likely be back tomorrow night to do the other 3 quarterfinal games. So we'll have the Bulls, Bucks, Hawks and the Kings, and the Lakers and Spurs. And that'll set up our Final Four. But yeah, I'm gonna have to call her a night. I'm tired. It's almost 3 o'clock. So everybody have a good night. Have a good day, whatever it is, wherever you're at. Be good. Be nice. Don't worry about Yellowstone erupting. Wash your damn hands. Peace.